Good morning. It's Wednesday morning. Today we continue to read from Matthew, and we're just going to read a little tiny bit where Jesus says at the beginning of Matthew, after the paralytic story, Matthew 9:9. As Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at a tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he rose and followed him. Just one verse. Some say, well, that's Matthew's little autobiographical contribution to the gospel, and we don't know for certain that Matthew wrote the gospel, but let's lay that aside. Matthew was a tax collector, a Jewish man who worked for the Roman authorities collecting high taxes from people who are burdened by these taxes. That could make you very popular. Wrong. He wasn't popular at all. It made him very unpopular in a way that I can't think of a good example in our country. Even people that work for, say, the IRS are not derided in the streets, and people don't let their children play with those children. They're just people who have a job, and we work with them, and we respect them, I guess. But these tax collectors were seen as turncoats. They were traitors. They were anti-Jewish, and so to work for Rome was a bad thing. Now, you made good money because you had to charge the tax, but whatever you charged more than the tax was your profit. So if somebody owed $20, you charged them $30, you got $10 profit. And if you did that a lot, you could make a nice living, and that's what happened. So tax collectors are seen as right up there with the sinners, and they frequently complain to Jesus, you eat with tax collectors and sinners. Well, here we have Matthew called to follow Jesus. Matthew just gets up and leaves and follows him. So what do we learn? Jesus has this kind of authority and winsomeness that he just got up and followed him. Okay, I'll follow you. He also, Jesus calls Matthew one of these hated, sinful kind of tax collectors to come, and which shows that he's not interested in the best people or the most religious people or the people that society respects. He's interested in the people that he chooses to call, and some of them are not the people that we might associate with. And so we learn something there. He calls Matthew to follow him. Presumably Matthew had some money, so that would have helped Jesus in his cause. I'm not sure that's why he did it, but certainly having some cash wouldn't be a bad thing when you're wandering around the countryside and living off of people's goodwill. So all of those things, we see that Jesus picks Matthew out. Suppose Matthew did write the gospel, then that's another reason why Jesus may have done it, knowing that this guy had the kind of talent that would lead to that. At any rate, what we learn is that Jesus calls all kinds of people, even people that everybody thinks are sinners, and says, come with me. And that's a good thing. We don't have to be righteous and respectable and perfect before he calls us. And I'm glad of that, because it ain't so for most of us. See you tomorrow.